Hey there folks, Luke here with the Outdoor Grip Review. I hope you are all doing well. Today for this episode, I am reviewing the Ohuhu wood burning stove. It is also an alcohol stove. Go ahead and get comfortable. Let's take a look at it now. So here's the box that it comes in, very simple. Ohuhu portable stainless steel stove, made in China. You receive some instructions on how to use the alcohol stove aspect and also the wood burning aspect. That's pretty much it. The stove itself comes in this nice mesh storage sack. This sack will prevent the grime, the soot of the stove from coming into contact with the rest of your gear. So this is the Ohuhu wood burning stove, also alcohol stove. Ohuhu. Now this stove comes in a number of different pieces. Setting up the stove is very easy. You start here with the base plate, then you take the burner and put that on top, as you can see. Now if you're going to use alcohol, you would take this piece here and lay it down inside. And as you can see, it's an elevated surface. This is the alcohol pan. You can fill this full of alcohol, put it down. And then this right here is what will hold your pots above the flame. Then you can set it down just like that. You can put your pot on top and you can cook away, boil your water. Now let's say you don't want to use the alcohol portion. Again, you start with the base plate, you take the burner, put it down, and instead of putting it in like this, you flip it over, and now this makes a tray for your wood, and you drop that inside. And as you can see, this provides a great deal of space for all of the kindling and the wood that you're going to burn. Then you put on the pot supporter, and you're ready to go. Very simple, very easy. It's actually an ingenious design. I really do like it. Well, since the day is getting long, it is time for some coffee. I'm going to begin processing some wood, and as I do so, I will go over some details concerning this stove. This stove is fairly lightweight at 14.2 ounces, less than 1 pound. It is all made from stainless steel. And as you can see here, it has 3 legs to support your pots. The stove itself is extremely efficient. With the right materials, you can get a fire going inside of this in less than 30 seconds. It requires no fuel other than twigs, sticks, pine cones, and so on. No gas, no batteries, plain and simple. Also, you do have the alcohol stove aspect if you wish to use it. Okay, there we go. Very efficient. Look at that. Very little smoke too. Unlike the BioLite stove, which smoked like a son of a gun. That secondary combustion really does work well. As you can see, just very little smoke. It's very efficient when it comes to the burn. And since this is so large, you can really fill it full of a lot of wood. Also, since it's so large, you can move to the larger pieces of wood very quickly. Okay. Put that on. Let's go ahead and boil some water. The only negative to this stove is that there's no hole so that you can, keep feeding this thing while your pot is on there. It'd be very difficult to do it without burning yourself. I have a feeling that I could rectify that with my Dremel tool. And that's something that I have been thinking about doing. I've been thinking about adding a hole so I can feed this while I'm boiling my water, cooking my food. If you guys are interested in seeing me do that, let me know in the comment section down below. As you can see there, very little smoke. Of course, if you put in some damper stuff like I just did, it will create a little bit. But if it's nice and dry, it's very efficient, very clean, very little residue. It's impressive. That was only after a couple of minutes, and the water is pretty much ready to go. I don't want any hotter than that. You can see that secondary combustion there. Really, really efficient. I mean, still, you can't see the flame because all the wood's being burned up completely. It will burn to ash. Cheers, my friends, cheers. Perfect, just what I need. Now, when it comes to cost, this stove is extremely inexpensive. You are looking at $22 on Amazon. $22 for a stainless steel, wood burning, and alcohol burning stove. Now, speaking of the alcohol burning portion, I have not actually used that part yet. To me, carrying a stove this large at 14.2 ounces, it's a little bit much for just an alcohol stove. I'd rather carry something homemade, something super lightweight. I think it's nice that they include this, but this isn't something that I would really want to use myself. So, yeah, that's just a personal preference. For me personally, I like the wood burning aspect of it. It really is efficient, as you saw there. Very, very little smoke. If I would put in some wood that had a little bit of moisture to it, yeah, it would smoke a little bit. But, I mean, very, very quick. It's super hot. I mean, gosh. $22. That blows my mind because most wood stoves on the market, even when they're made from stainless steel, very similar to this, of course, the design is a little bit different. I mean, they're close to $100. $60 to $100. $22. This is very, very impressive. It really is. Now, when it comes to size, that is one aspect that really does impress me. For one thing, the internals of this stove is large enough where it can hold a substantial amount of wood. So it can burn for a long period of time without you having to continuously feed it. I like that. Also, it could support a small cup like this. It could also support a large pot. I like that too. Now, when it comes to putting it all back together, as you saw in the beginning, I mean, it really is a small, tiny little package. It's about 3 inches thick, and it's about 5.5 inches wide. So, I mean, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Like I said, it's not very heavy, less than 1 pound. All in all, this is a top-notch stove for very, very little. Now, when it comes to cons, it would be this ring, this pot holder right here. The metal itself is not very thick. I don't have any worries about this having any reliability issues. But it's just something that does need to be mentioned. It's not the thickest steel out there. Just got to be careful with it. Now, with the legs themselves, they do seem a little bit fragile. I wouldn't want to bend those, and I think it would be easy to do so. So as long as you take care of your gear, you shouldn't have any issues. As long as you're not really just being rough with something, this is going to be just fine. The last issue, of course, is that there's no way to feed this thing when your pot is on top. So I'm thinking about taking a Dremel tool and just cutting out a small rectangular size hole so I can feed it continuously. I think that'd be pretty easy. Like I said before, if you're interested in seeing me do that, just let me know. I will make a video when I do it. So right now it's starting to cool down, but it's still pretty dang hot. I wouldn't want to touch that top part. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the ash out, the wood out. As you can see there, it burns absolutely to ash. Very little to clean up to. So ultimately, I'm sure you're wondering, is this worth $22? Absolutely. It really is an impressive stove. It's fun to use. It really does work well. I'm impressed with it. I would recommend this to anybody who is interested in taking a wood-burning stove with them on their backpacking trips. It's also great for survival and prepping purposes. Yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me. Now, to go ahead and just kind of compress it all back together, you start with the burning plate. You take the stand itself, put that over the top. This is the plate that either supports the alcohol stove or accepts all your wood. You drop that in. Then you take the pot holder, fold the legs in, and there you go. That's it. Very small, very neat little tidy package. Guys, if you all have any questions, drop them down below. I will get to them. For all things the outdoors, stay here with the Outdoor Gear Review. Take care. Strength and honor.